Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The moment has arrived. The 2025 NFL season begins tomorrow. Welcome to my NFL Week 1 prediction video. It is back once again, predictions videos. I cannot wait for the season to kick off in Philadelphia. Oh, shall we? Let's begin in Philadelphia. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Philadelphia is an 8.5-point favorites. Dallas have a new head coach in Brian Schottenheimer. Debutants, of course, will also see George Pickens. Kenny Clark, who was part of the Micah Parsons trade, is going to make his Cowboys debut. And there's going to be questions, of course, surrounding on the Cowboys. What are you doing, Jerry Jones? Why you didn't pay Micah Parsons? All that stuff. This is going to be a big season for the Cowboys, and all eyes is on that GM, owner, president of the team, Jerry Jones. They're going to take on the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, who will raise their second Super Bowl banner after beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, which, listen, they deserve to win the Super Bowl. They got the best team in the roster. But this offseason, it's been a little defensive losses. They lost, of course, Josh Webb. Brandon Graham went to retirement. They traded Bryce Huff to San Francisco. No Darius Slayton. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. On the other hand, they still have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, who's going to also need to have a big year. Debutants, we're going to see Jahad Campbell making his linebackers Eagles debut. While on the offensive side, Kevin Patolio will take over as the offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore took over as the next Saints head coach. So we'll see what Patolio's offense will be for Jalen Hurts. This game will be very interesting. 8.5 points makes sense because you know the Cowboys offense. They're going to have Dak Prescott back. They'll be ready to go on offense. Give me the Eagles. I have the Eagles winning it 20-28, 8-point win. So Eagles by 8. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. This is on Friday in San Pablo, Brazil. Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorites. We'll start with the Chargers. No Rashawn Slater, out for the season. So Joe Alt slides in from right tackle to left tackle. We'll see who will be the starting right tackle on the other hand. Debutants, we're going to see Najee Harris, Amar Hampton, Tyler Conklin, of course, on the offense, as well as the return of Keenan Allen. So we'll get to see him back in the Hall of Blue. But for the Chargers defense, no Joey Bosa, but they still have Khalil Mack, Bud Dupree should get some big years for the Chargers. No Asante Samuel, who is still a free agent, by the way. So if you're the Chargers, I would want to re-sign him. They're going to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, who they want to forget about the loss to the Super Bowl against the Eagles. And their offseason has been quite mixed up. They lose Joe Thuney, gone, traded to the Bears. They get Jalen Moore from free agency. They drafted Josh Simpson from the draft, who was a great left tackle for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He's going to be their starting left tackle over Jalen Moore. Rashee Rice suspended for 6 games. So, hey, at least you get Hollywood Brown back. And all the questions will be on Travis Kelce. Is this going to be his final season in the NFL? I know he just had proposed Taylor Swift, so that was a week ago. Nobody cares. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. And their defense is going to be good. They're still going to be good. The question will be who will step up for Justin Reed. Now, Justin Reed left to go with the Saints, so that safety spot will be huge. This game will be huge, and for the first time ever, it will be streamed on YouTube, and it's free. Yes, free. But being played in San Pablo, people will say the Eagles won there. They won the Super Bowl, so the winner of this game should win the Super Bowl. I got to hand it to you guys. You guys are going to give me the not so fast, my friends, because I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers run the ball against the Chiefs defense, and I still have questions surrounding on the Chiefs offense, but again, their offense will be good still. So give me a 31-28 Chargers win. We go to Sunday. Miami Dolphins taking on the Colts at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Indy is a 1.5 point favorite. Both teams coming off disappointing seasons. The Colts are going to debut Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. While for Miami, they're trying to get back from a season that they missed out of the playoffs from last year, and they had to make some improvements on the defensive side, of course, making his debut at defensive tackle Kenneth Grant, the first-round pick. We'll also see Tyler Warren making his Colts debut. So a lot of changes in Indy, of course. New DC, Louis Namaro, former Bengals defensive coordinator, is going to be the defensive play caller. Sorry. This game will be fun. I think people will go in Miami, but not so fast. I got the Colts upsetting the Miami Dolphins. Give me 20-24 Colts win. Pittsburgh Steelers take on the New York Jets at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Pittsburgh is a 2.5 point favorites, and they should be a 2.5 point favorites because they're playing Justin Fields and the Jets. First, you have Aaron Rodgers, who played the Jets last year. Now he's the starting quarterback for the Steelers against Justin Fields, who was the starter in Pittsburgh for 6 games, and now he's with the Jets as their starting quarterback. This is also the debut of Aaron Glenn as their Jets' new head coach. So we'll see what kind of offense will look like for Justin Fields, and what is this Aaron Glenn's defense going to look like. Of course, despite he's not going to be calling the defense, it's going to be Steve Wilks who's going to be calling the defense. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, debutants of DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers. That duo is going to be fun to watch. Being played in New York, I do think New York can win this, but I have the Steelers. They still got TJ Watt, by the way, and Cameron Hayward. So give me the Steelers. I got the Steelers winning it 21-20 over the Jets. The Carolina Panthers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Jacksonville's a 3.5 point favorite. This is a debut of the Travis Hunter era. Yes, he will play wide receiver and corner, but there is also another debut in head coach Liam Cohen, who is another former Bucs OC, following the footsteps of Dave Canales, who also did that last offseason. So this is going to be a good game, by the way. But Jacksonville, this will be a huge game, of course, playing in Jacksonville against a Panthers team that all questions still on Bryce Young. Can he have that year? That second half Bryce Young go to this year. T-Mac is going to make his debut. The defense should be ready to go, of course, with a healthy Derek Brown. And this could be my upset. I got the Carolina Panthers winning this game. And the reason is this. Bryce Young and that offense is going to be really good with T-Mac on the field. I know they don't have Adam Thielen. They did, however, brought back Hunter Renfrow, so he's going to be their slot receiver. He is going to be the X factor in this game. I do think they win this. Give me a 17-20 Panthers win. Arizona Cardinals taking on the New Orleans Saints at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Arizona is a 6.5 point favorites, of course. They're on the road, of course, for Arizona, but expectations are high for this team. Of course, bringing in Josh Sweat from the defending Super Bowl champions Eagles on the defense, which would be massive for their pass rushing help. Although they don't have Walter Nolan, but Calais Campbell makes his re-debut returning to Arizona. Should be a fun one for him. But all questions still on Kyler Murray as well. They're going to take on the Saints, who have a new head coach in Kellen Moore, a new starting quarterback in Spencer Rattler. And the Saints fans might be thinking right now, first overall pick. right now. Give me the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals winning it by 10 points. 32. Let's go 20-10. Low score game. New York Giants take on the Washington Commanders at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Washington is a 6.5 point favorites. Giants debuts. We're going to see Russell Wilson, Abdul Carter, the number 3 overall pick on the defensive side. On Washington, we're going to get to see Deebo Samuel makes his Commanders debut. Plus, expect Washington's defense could get even better this year if they get a Marshawn Lattimore healthy guy. So all that being said, shucks. But in Washington, I have questions surrounding on Jane Daniels. Was last year a fluke, or was last year one of the more impressive rookie years that we haven't seen in a long time? And is that going to carry that momentum this season? Being played in Washington, I do think the Giants' D line is going to give Jane Daniels some trouble. However, I think the Commanders still win this game. Give me the Commanders by 7, 20-27. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Tampa is a 1.5 point favorites. The Bucs are getting a new offense coordinator in Josh Grizzy, who is the wide receivers coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to take on the Falcons, who it's time for the Michael Penix era to begin in ATL, which all questions surrounding on them. Plus their defense, which will debut Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. on the edge. And for the Buccaneers, Hassan Reddick makes his Bucs debut. This game will be very important for both teams. And if you remember, Atlanta swept the Bucs. Yes, they swept the Bucs. But here, give me the Buccaneers. 24-23. They win it by 1 point. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Cincinnati is a 5.5 point favorite. Finally, Trey Hendrickson and the newest comer, Shamar Stewart, is going to make his debut back on the defense for the Bengals. Of course, Al Golden is going to make his defense coordinating debut. Nothing to talk about their offense. Their offense is good. They're good. They're going to take on the Browns, who are bringing back Joe Flacco, who's going to make his re-debut in Cleveland. However, there is concern surrounding on the offense than the defense. The defense is going to be really good this year. Of course, Myles Garrett, Mason Graham is going to make his debut. Denzel Ward should be ready to go this year. Being played in Cleveland is the Battle of Ohio. Give me the Bengals winning it by, let's say, 17-24. Meanwhile, we got the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the New England Patriots at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. New England is a 2.5 point favorite. Both of these teams have new head coaches. For the Raiders, new head coach in Pete Carroll, who has his new QB in Geno Smith, and a new running back. Ashton Jeanty makes his Raiders debut in Foxborough against the Patriots, who are also making a debut of Mike Vrabel returning to the NFL. But also, this is the Stephon Diggs and most of the free agent names, if y'all know, Carlton Davis, Milton Williams, Robert Spillane, making their debuts. This should be a real close game. At 2.5 point favorites, Patriots, meaning that the Raiders will look to run the football with Ashton Jeanty a lot, because Pete Carroll does love to run the ball. This could be a close game. Could come down to a field goal. But give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders, folks. Ashton Jeanty gets a big win. Give me a 23-20 Raiders win. 49ers take on the Seattle Seahawks at 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. San Francisco's a 2.5 point favorites. Seattle, we're going to see Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp making their debuts. Yep. On the new offense, of course, also Clint Kubiak is calling the offense, making his Seahawks OC debut. They're going to take on a tested 49ers team. Well, tested, if I were quoting. The 49ers, who last season went 6-11, banged up last year, but this year should be really healthy as well. But their defense, they're going to have Malachi Williams making his debut, as well as Robert Saleh making his big return to the Bay Area as the defensive coordinator. But also for the 49ers offense, um, CMC is back healthy. Trent Williams is back healthy. Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings. We'll see where they're going in their injuries. But Ricky Pearsall, year 2, and George Kittle. Yes, this should be a good game. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, and here's why. The 49ers are dealing with wide receiver injuries, so note that. But I'll give it to the Seahawks. They win it by 3, 20-23. Tennessee Titans take on the Denver Broncos at 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Denver is an 8.5-point favorite. Tennessee is making the Cam Ward era begin in Denver against a great Broncos team that last year all the expectations was on Bo Nix. And what happened? They won 10 games, made it to the playoffs. But despite losing to the Bills, this year is their year to win the AFC West. We'll find out. But their defense is going to be good, of course. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain, will be looking at Calvin Ridley a lot. This game will be good. Give me the Broncos. Bo Nix wins Player of the Game. 20-28, Broncos win. Detroit Lions take on the Green Bay Packers at 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Green Bay is a 1.5-point favorite. After getting Micah Parsons, they're a point favorite. Okay. I'm looking forward to it. Micah Parsons making his Packers debut. Matthew Golden, the first-round receiver, is making his debut as well. They're going to take on a Lions team that they have 2 new coordinators. Of course, OC is John Morton, and Kelvin Shepard is their new defensive coordinator. Being played in Lambeau Field, the Lions swept the Packers last year. And I'm going to do it again. Give me the Lions winning 24-20 against the Packers. Texans taking on the Rams at 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Rams are a 3.5-point favorites in this one. This is, of course, a good game to keep an eye on, too, because the Rams, Devontae Adams makes his Rams debut alongside Puka Nacua as his wide receiver 1. Their defense, fearsome, foursome, will be back. Byron Murphy, Jarek Burrs, Byron Young, and Braden Fisk. So that defense from last year are going to be good this year. They're going to take on the Texans, who they're going to debut a lot of new faces at the offensive line. Nick Kelly is going to be their OC after his years with the Rams as the tight ends coach. So we'll see what that offense is going to look like this year for year 3 of CJ Stroud. Should be a fun game. I would love to see the Rams win this at home, but where the Matthew Stafford injury is going right now, it could be a concern. So give me the Houston Texans. Yes, give me the Texans winning at 26-27 over the Rams. All right, this is the game of the week, not America's game of the week. This is the game of the week for this channel. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Buffalo Bills, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Buffalo's a 1.5 favorites. It is the reigning MVP, Josh Allen, against the 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson. Ravens are debuting a lot this year. They're on the defensive side was huge. Jair Alexander, Malachi Starks, Mike Green making his debut on the defensive side, and a stacked Ravens defense. Josh Allen better find a way to win this football game, because yes, Josh Allen's offseason has been crazy. Yeah, he got married to his best friend, Haley Sarsfield. Shout out to her. Love that movie, Sinners, by the way. But this year's going to be a big year for the Bills. It's Super Bowl or bust for both of these teams, including the Bills and the Ravens. One of them is going to have to win it. I got the Bills. I think the Bills win it. They were my Super Bowl picks this year. So give me the Bills winning it. Let's do 30 to 34. Bills win. And then finally, the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears at 8:15 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN. Minnesota is a point and a half point favorites. This is a Monday night game in Chicago. Ben Johnson makes his head coaching debut in Chicago. While for the Vikings, it's time for J.J. McCarthy. And guess who's returning after 2 years with the Panthers? It is Adam Thielen. Yeah, it has to be Adam Thielen. By the way, this game will come down to Caleb Williams. What is that offense going to look like for Ben Johnson? We did get a little bit of that on against the Bills in the preseason, but we need to see more of that. Give me the Vikings. Vikings win it 27-30 over the Chicago Bears. And that is it for my NFL Week 1 predictions. Hello there, folks. This has been a long video. Yup. As of recorded, 21 minutes and 8 seconds. So if you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and also make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more sports news. We'll see you guys in the next one, and enjoy the 2025 NFL season.